guys?
How we doing? We're in the jungles of India because we have a cool story we want to tell you today. A story about a little boy named Ringu, and he does some really cool stuff.
Okay.
And it's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It'll be okay, though.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. Trust us.
Yeah, but you gotta listen really well because I've got 3 questions when we're done.
Ooh, yeah.
And then Pastor has...
I got a special challenge at the end. And if you're the first to answer the questions in the comments, and you're under 12. And you complete the challenge that we're going to give you at the end today, then you'll be entered in a drawing and we'll send you a prize.
Okay.
All right?
So listen really, really well.
Yeah, it's going to be way cool. So listen to some of these animals that we hear around us. We hear birds. And some monkeys every once in a while.
What if there's a tiger?
I'm not really a cat person.
Yeah, I don't like tigers. They're scary.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, they're very pretty.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that.
The deep jungles of India. Would you like to hear a true story?
Well, let's get started.
Okay.
All right. So our story today takes place in a little village in India where a group of people called the Korku people live. And the Korku people do things a little differently than what maybe you and I would do.
Okay.
They, their clothes are different, and they believe different things. In fact, they don't necessarily know about the one true God.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, they believe in a bunch of different things. Like, they believe that there are spirits in the trees, or in the birds, or in the lions and tigers, or even in their animals that are called bullocks.
Bullocks? What's a bullock?
So a bullock is kind of like a cow,
okay,
but a little different. A bullock has it has horns, so kind of like a cow can have sometimes. Okay. But bullocks they use those instead of horses or cars because they don't have those things. Oh. So they use bullocks to pull carts and to work in their fields, and they even ride them.
They ride them?
Isn't that crazy?
That's
they ride
amazing.
them. Yeah.
Now, where is this again?
This is in India, in central India, way deep in a jungle.
That's way far away.
Way far away.
That's like further than Fort Wayne, right?
Almost as far, yes. Yeah. So, all right, get ready because we're going to start our story, all right?
Be listening really well.
So, the main person in our story, his name is Ringu.
Ringu.
And Ringu is like 11 years old.
Okay.
He's about the same age as some of you guys. And Ringu is a very special boy. And we're going to talk about some really cool stuff that he does. Okay. All right? So let's get started. Early one morning, Ringu and his family got ready to go to the market. It was a special day. They didn't have Walmarts and those kind of things in the village that Ringu grew up in. And so they would once a week get ready and they would go to town. And in the middle of town, they would set up a bunch of different tables and people would buy things and sell things. And they would have special different kind of events and that kind of stuff. It was a huge and exciting time. Ringu was especially excited today because this was the last time to go to market before the bazaar and the festival of bullocks.
Ooh, a festival.
Now, the Bullock Festival was a time when the people of the Korku people would worship the bullocks. They believed that they were kind of like a god. And so they would buy all kinds of special things. They would buy special flowers and ropes that would go around their necks. They would even buy them delicious brown sugar cubes to feed the bullocks. Well, Ringu and his brother Batu sat in the front while his mom and dad sat in the back, and they were on their way to the village. It was a long and dusty road, and Ringu began to look around at the jungle that was beside them. He was nervous. What if there was something bad in the jungle? Like something that was mean or even a tiger? And Ringu thought, I'm sure glad it's daylight out here. I don't want to be out here all by myself. They got out onto the road that was a little smoother, and Ringu thought, I'm going to win the race this year. You see, the reason that Ringu was so excited was because there was going to be a bullock race at the Festival of Bullocks this year, and he was the youngest competitor ever to be involved. He
Whoa.
was going to drive his two bullocks and his cart, and he wanted to win so badly. He wanted to make his father proud. Well, in the midst of that, Ringu decided, let's give the bullocks a little try. We'll see how they do. And so he took a long stick and he began to poke at the bullocks on the back and he said, go, let's go. And they began to run fast and fast and faster. The dust clouded everywhere and the bullocks were off like a bullet. They ran very, very fast. And when they finally got closer to town, Ringu pulled back on the reins and he said, whoa, whoa. And the bullocks walked on into town. As they got into town, they went to a special place where they could tie up the bullocks. There was trees that had shade, and they had a place where they could tie the reins to the wheels so the bullocks wouldn't get away. And everyone got ready to go to the bazaar. Ringu was so excited. He couldn't wait. There were so many things that he wanted to do and see while he was there. And so he went and he got ready to get down. And when he jumped down out of his cart, he said, "Ah!" And he fell to the ground.
Oh no.
Ringu looked, and there in his foot, he had landed on a very, very sharp thorn.
No.
Ringu was in so much pain. It had gone all into his foot. Ringu gritted his teeth and was very strong, like some of you are, and he grabbed the thorn and he pulled it out. And he went, oh, that hurt so bad. But he knew he couldn't let that stop him because in just a few days, he was going to have to run alongside his bullocks, and he wanted to win the race so badly. Well, Ringu went with his little brother Batu, and his mom and dad went one way, and Ringu and Batu went another, and they began to walk around the market. While he was there, Ringu saw something that looked so delicious. A man had a table full of fresh, ripe bananas. Ringu was so hungry, and he thought, oh, the sweet taste of that would be wonderful. So while no one was looking, Ringu snuck over to the table, reached out, he took a banana, and he put it in his pocket, and he stole it. Oh, Ringu knew that stealing was wrong, but he thought, everybody steals, don't they? Now, we know better, right? We know that stealing is not right. But Ringu, he stole. He looked around, and because he was scared of getting caught, he thought, I need to get out of here. And he began to move very quickly through the crowd, and his brother Batu was right behind him. And as he was moving through the crowd and he was going from place to place and trying to get away so that no one would catch him for stealing, he ran into someone, and as he ran into them, papers flew everywhere. And then all of a sudden, Ringu looked up and saw it was someone who was very different from him.
Different.
You see, everyone in Ringu's village looked kind of similar. They had dark skin, they wore similar clothes, they had dark hair and dark eyes. But this man looked different. Ringu had run into a man who was a missionary.
Oh.
His name was Grubbs Sahib. Now, Grubbs Sahib was a missionary from America. He had come to the Korku people to share with them how they could know about the one true God, so they didn't have to be afraid of all of the other things that they were afraid of. But Mr. Grubbs, he looked very different. He was kind of tall. He had very light skin. He had light hair, and he had blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Ringu was shocked. He had never seen anyone that looked like Mr. Grubbs before. He was also kind of scared because what if this man was mean? What if he was mad because Ringu had run into him and knocked out all the papers? And so Ringu jumped up and started to run away. But as he began to run away, Mr. Grubbs reached out, put his hand on his shoulder and said, wait, it's okay. Come here, I've got something for you. This man spoke in Ringu's language.
What?
He looked different, but sounded the same.
That's so cool.
The man handed Ringu a paper, and he said, Ringu, I want you to take this paper. I want you to read it. This paper tells of the fact that you can be free from fear.
Oh, wow.
Free from fear. Ringu had never heard such a thing. His whole life was about fear. He was afraid of the spirits. He was afraid of being sick. He was afraid of not having enough food. He was afraid of the things going on. His whole life had been about fear. And this man said he didn't have to be afraid.
Wow.
Ringu was very excited to hear that, but there was a problem.
What?
You see, they didn't have schools like we have schools. And so Ringu didn't know how to read very well. He knew some of the letters, but he didn't know how to find the sentences and read the words. And so Ringu took the paper and he wanted to know about it. The man said, on this paper are the words of the one true God.
Oh, wow.
It will tell you the story of a man named Jesus who loves you so much that he died on the cross for your sins, but he didn't stay dead. He came alive, and now he wants to live with you forever.
Yes.
Ringu thought, oh, that sounds amazing. But just then he felt someone tug on his sleeves. It was his little brother Batu. Batu said, I don't think we should listen to this. If we hear this, what if Papa hears it? Or what if the evil spirits would hear us listening? That would be a bad thing. Ringu said, if it's true, it would be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Just then, Ringu heard something that he'd never heard before. It was a strange sound. It sounded kind of like when the water would run through the river and the birds would sing at the same time, but it was even more beautiful than that. It was music.
Nice.
Now, you and I have heard music before, but Ringu had never heard music. And so he ran over to find out what was going on. There was a man sitting there playing on a very strange box. The box had black and white keys, and as he pushed on the keys, sound would come out the back of the box, and it was beautiful music. Ringu sat there looking at the paper that had been given him by Mr. Grubbs and listening to this music, and he thought, this is different. I have never seen or heard anything like this before. Well, about halfway through a song, the man who was playing stopped, and he said, my name is Pandu. I am from your village. In fact, many of you knew me from before. I used to live in fear. I was afraid that if I didn't do enough good, or if I didn't worship the right evil spirits, or if I didn't make the right sacrifices, that bad things would happen to me. And then one day I heard that I could have a relationship. I could be part of a family of God, the one true God,
Oh, wow.
and I would never have to be afraid again. Ringu listened to this and thought, these are strange words, but they're beautiful words.
Yes.
Well, just then, Ringu saw his father and mother, and he knew that it was time to get going. But when he stood up, his foot hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. It was getting much worse. Well, Ringu and his parents and Batu went home that day. It was only 3 days until the festival of the bullocks, when they would have the great race, and Ringu was so excited about it. Well, Ringu went to bed and got up the next morning. He was hoping that his foot would get better, but it didn't. In fact, in the morning, it was getting worse. It was turning red, and it was getting very warm, and it was getting what is called an infection. And that's when it gets sick inside of a cut. And so Ringu went out on his front porch where they had a rope, hammock, a bed. And as he's sitting there, his mom comes out and said, I just want you to know that in the midst of this, I think you're going to do great in the race. Ringu said, Mama, I don't know if I can. My foot hurts so bad. His mama looked at his foot, called his father, and father immediately went to find someone to see if he could get him some help.
Who could help him?
Well, Papa went and he met with a man who was called a A witch doctor.
A witch doctor?
Now, a witch doctor was someone who believed that weird potions and evil spirits could make people better. He was very strange looking. He was scary, in fact. He had a long, bright, shiny tuft of hair and a white beard and very, very piercing eyes. He wore all kinds of strange things around his neck, and he smelled funny. He came over to Ringu and he looked. And as he looked at his foot, he said, I can make this better. He reached down and he took some dirt and he rubbed dirt into the cut.
Oh.
Not a good thing. And then he tied a special rope around his foot. And it was a rope that looked a lot like one that the Korku people wore around their neck. It was a rope that was supposed to keep the evil spirits away. And then he said, now, if you will take a coconut and go to the great flat rock and break the coconut on the flat rock, it will make the village spirits happy, and that will fix his foot.
Break a coconut on the flat rock.
Right. Even Ringu thought, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't think so. I just wish I knew more about the one true God who could help me. Well, Ringu went to bed that night and thought, we'll see. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will make it better. When he got up the next morning, it wasn't better. In fact, it was worse. Ringu could barely walk. His heel hurt so bad. And so he spent all day with his foot up in the swing on the front porch. He went to sleep there that night, and he got up the next morning. And as he got up the next morning, he heard the drums.
Drums.
It was the day of the festival. Yes. Ringu was so excited. He thought, oh, I've got to see if my foot's better. He went to jump out of bed, and when he did, he fell to the ground and thought, I don't know if I can do this, but I have to because I want my papa to be so happy and proud of me. Ringu decided that no matter what, he was running in the race. They went to town, and they got everything lined up. They put beautiful ribbons and cords around the necks of the bullocks. He gave them each a special cube of delicious brown sugar. Mm-hmm. And as he did that, he then said, all right, boys, this is our chance. We're the youngest team out here, but let's show them what you can do. Everyone lined up all of the carts all the way across the road. And at the time when the big drum sounded, everyone took off. Ringu took his stick and he poked the bullocks and he said, let's go, let's go. Yeah! And he began to run as fast as he could. He was chasing the bullocks when all of a sudden, because his foot hurt, he began to stumble and fall. He was scared he would be dragged by the bullocks.
Oh, no.
But then because of the speed and Ringu began to hop on one foot, he was able to keep his balance. His bullocks passed several teams as he began to yell, go, go, go. On the sidelines, his brother Batu was yelling, yes, go Ringo, go. And as they began to go faster and faster, Ringu won the race.
Yes!
11 years old, had beaten men who had been racing for years. Ringu looked over and his papa had a smile that was huge and was clapping and cheering for him. Ringu was so excited. He knew that he had done something to make his papa proud. As he got to the end of the track and everyone was coming over to congratulate him, Ringu had to sit down because his foot hurt so badly. Ringu went home that night, and he was very, very, very happy to have won. But he wasn't feeling good. His head hurt. He was very hot, and his foot, he could barely walk. That night, Ringu crawled into his bed, reached up into the turban, the hat that he wore, and pulled out a paper. It was the paper that had the words of the one true God on it. Ringu looked at it and thought, I wish that I could read this so that I don't have to be afraid anymore. Ringu wanted to learn to read so badly. but he also wanted his foot to stop hurting.
Yeah.
He knew that he needed to get some help and that the witch doctor, it wasn't working.
He didn't have any power.
Nope. And so Ringu thought, I know what I need to do. And you know what he did?
What?
We're going to have to come back tomorrow and find out what happens.
Oh, man.
I know, right? I'm telling you, the story gets even better from
Better
here.
than that?
Yes.
Oh, man. That's exciting. So tomorrow?
Tomorrow, at the same time,
Okay.
we're going to tell some more of the story. And as we tell some more of the story, we'll have another challenge for you tomorrow and then more questions and more chances for you to win the prize that we're going to give away on Friday.
I love prizes.
She does.
Here's your first question, okay? So what you have to do is be able to put your name down in the comments and your answer to the question.
You can get your moms and dads or grandmas and grandpas or whoever to help you with that. And then you can put that down.
Okay? So here's the first question. Are you ready? Remember, you have to put your name and your answer in the comments, and then you'll be entered to win a prize. All right, question number 1. Did Ringu know that it was wrong to steal? Pastor, what did Ringu steal?
It was a banana.
He stole a banana.
He did.
Okay, so the question number 1. Did Ringu know that it was wrong to steal? Question number 2. What did the paper from God say that Ringu didn't have to do anymore? What did Ringu not have to do anymore?
Paper said that there was one true God that had come to help take away this one feeling that he had, the thing that he was feeling.
So what feeling did Ringu not have to have anymore? That's question number 2. You ready for question number 3? This is hard to type it in. All right, question number 3, the last question for today. What did Ringu want to learn to do and why? So maybe that should be question 3 and question 4. What did Ringu want to do and why? Don't forget to put your name in the comments and your answer to make sure we get the right kid to be able to win.
Absolutely. All right, so here's your other challenge for today. Maybe you didn't get the question. You weren't the first one to get in on the questions. That's okay.
That's okay.
Everybody has a chance today to do that, all right? Here's how we're going to, this is the challenge for the day. Did you notice our cool hats? These are our jungle hats because remember, we're in the jungle where there's all kinds of crazy animals and birds. Wow. I want you to go and find a hat that you would want to wear in the jungle. Find it in your house. You can find it in your garage. Get your moms and dads, whoever, to help you.
Can I make it out of paper?
You can make it out of paper.
Okay.
You can make it out of anything. And you put that on your head, all right? And then have somebody take a picture of you and post it in the comments. And everybody who posts a picture of them wearing a jungle hat, kind of hat, however that looks, however you think it would be perfect for the jungle, we'll put you in the drawing too. All right?
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you had fun with our story time today. We've had a great time. We're excited to be able to tell you the story. We're going to be here every day for this whole week, and we're going to be sharing these stories with you and telling you more about Ringu and what happens and the weird stuff that he might believe. And what about the strange missionary? What's he going to say?
Yeah.
And is Ringo going to get in trouble for stealing? What's going to happen? So we hope that you'll come back and join us every day. And we want you to know that we love you guys and that we hope that you have a great day. All right?
Bye, guys.
We'll see you later.
Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you, so do we. Bye.